You've obviously got a cervical dystonia,
Right.
and it seems to be predominantly a lateral a sideways tilt. Can you tell me a bit about how it started?
Right, I started with it in 1998. I'd took three Seroxat tablets, and I noticed that my mouth had dropped as if like stroke-like symptoms. And I was taken into hospital. They did think that it was muscle spasms off the medication, but it never ever left us. For 5.5 years I struggled on with it in my mouth, and nobody had any answers for us, basically. And then we asked to see somebody because things was just seemed to be getting worse. I was diagnosed in 2003 off Professor Bates.
How old were you then?
I was just 51 last week, sorry.
Would you like a drink?
No, I'm alright, thank you. So it's like, how old was I then? 47. Yes, I've been about 47 then. So I was diagnosed in 2003 and sent to Hunters Moor, referred to there in the October. And I had my first lot of Botox injections.
What was the diagnosis he gave you then?
Right, straight away, when I walked in the room and before I even sat down, he said that I had dystonia. And I'd had a few different types of blood tests to rule out Wilson's and Huntington's, and I don't have the DYT1 gene. And from Hunters Moor in the October, after the Christmas, the next time I went, it started to move more into my neck and my shoulders.
Right.
So I've been having injections ever since then.
Right. How was the first injections?
Nothing at all.
Right. And what about subsequent treatments?
Well, I could never really sort of understand when I spoke to people how they used to say when you get your injections, things pick up and then they go back when you know that you're due for them. I could never understand that, because in the middle sometimes I might get a few days where it would be better days, but it soon would change back. But I don't move about as much as I did before I had them, whereas...
So it's dampened the movements, but it hasn't stopped the spasms?
I think it's dampened it down a bit, yes, but not to the degree where I thought it would do.
Because you've got some quite complex movements as well, haven't you?
Yes.
Although your head tends to have this position most of the time.
Yes.
It moves in just about every other direction as well.
Yes.
How much of that is you trying to break the spasms and get into a comfortable position? Or is it all involuntary movement?
It's all mainly, it's all a thing itself. Sometimes if I sit and try and sit up straight to keep it right, it'll just start to fling into somewhere else.
Right.
If I try to hold it and force myself to sit still, it'll go into a different part or make us move into a different part.
Right. And apart from the botulinum, have you had any other treatments?
Over the years I've had lots of medications, which I don't seem to take well to medications.
Can you remember any of them?
Diazepam, baclofen, gabapentin, pregabalin, clemazepam is one of the main things I think does help us a little bit.
Right. When you say you don't take well to them, is that the side effects of them, or they just don't work very well?
Right, they either can take them and they either find that they make the dystonia worse, and I come off them and it gets better, so I know it's medication, or it's side effects, as in they either make you really, really depressed, which obviously I don't want. So it's either, like I said, it makes the dystonia worse, or it gives us the side effects of...
Which are worse than the symptoms of the dystonia?
Yes.
Okay. And have you had any other types of treatment in the past?
When I first started, I had acupuncture for about 1.5 years, when it was just in the face part, and that didn't make any difference at all.
You must have spent a lot of money on that. It's not cheap.
I went through GP, to be honest. Right. It was referred from the GP with that. No other treatments. No, I haven't had anything else.
Right. So, how are the treatments affecting you now? Are they helping?
At the moment, I'm just on the clomazepam.
Right. Can you tell me a bit about how it's affected your day-to-day living? Not the psychological side, just the things that you have to do for yourself day-to-day, like toilets, shopping, showers, baths. It
is very, very hard. Now, because I've had it so long, I think now I just try and adapt to whichever way I can get round of doing things in my own way.
Do you need assistance for anything?
Well, lots of it. Most of the time, I don't do shopping very well, because if I'm on walking, it affects me walking. Like years ago, you could go and do shopping and it was just nothing. Shopping is, if you've done a little bit, I come home, I really usually need to lie down because I'm not worn out after doing the walking about.
What about the safety aspects?
If we go out shopping for the last 3 years, I use crutches, because if I have crutches, that stops us from, I can stand still, I don't have to move out of other people's way because I can't, and that gives us more balance and a little bit more independence of not having to hang on to my husband if I'm with him.
And is that telling other people as well that watch out, there's a problem? So they can respond appropriately, is there?
Well, being honest, most people don't really respond to it anyway. Right. If I want to be honest with you.
Right.
Crutches are invisible. You are invisible.
Uh-huh. And what about on the stairs and crossing the road?
We moved house 2 years ago, and I'm in a bungalow because I did have problems with the stairs. I never ever happened. I couldn't tell you when I've ever been out on my own anyway. I'm always with my husband.
Is that for actually physically moving about, or is it for self-confidence?
That is for physically moving about.
Right. And to help you keep you safe, is that right?
Yes.
Right. So did you move the bungalow because you'd had falls as well? Or?
Well, we moved the bungalow because I was just finding it harder and harder. The bedrooms was upstairs, the toilet was downstairs, and it was like coming up and down on your bottom all the time, or crawling up them or crawling down them.
And what do you like in the kitchen?
The
pans and kettle and...
Hard work, what else can I think? Making a cup of tea isn't anything to anybody else, but it's a major issue when you're having to just do particular movements of making a cup of tea.
And has it affected your life in any other way, the physical side? Is there anything you've had to stop doing because of the dystonia?
You don't work anymore, you don't...
Did the dystonia stop you going to work?
Yes.
Was that from the physical side or from the sort of embarrassing antisocial aspects of it?
No, from the physical side, I just couldn't manage.
What was your job?
I worked in a shop, and luckily the girls who I worked with would try and work round us and cover for us, but things was just getting that bad. It wasn't fair on them neither.
How has it affected your sort of psychological side, the antisocial bit of it, and?
Well, at first I would say it really bothered us because obviously you look different, you're odd, and people stare at you, and it's sort of like,
affected your self-esteem. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
but as time's gone on, I have to try, and you go out and you just have to try and like ignore people.
Do you go out less than you used to?
Yes.
Do you still go to the pub, restaurants, or anywhere like that?
Pubs, no, but that's never been a thing for us really. If we are out and we think for like a meal, I'll have something I can pick up with my hand. I won't use knife and fork.
Would you make a mess with a knife and fork? Or are you embarrassed in case you do?
Well, I don't, even in the house I don't use knife and fork. I could cut stuff up with scissors if it needs doing, and I use a fork, and most of the time table isn't very good, and I tend to either have cushions and sat, and I need my plate up here to eat off to get in the mouth that way, so I won't eat with anything that needs knife and fork outside, no.